Hello and welcome to another episode of Sports and Songs Podcast. This is season 6, episode number 49. Tonight's the sports edition, Andy. How are you?
Yes, very good, very good. Baseball playoffs are here.
It's
WNBA finals have ended. Life is good.
October 13th of October 2025, right in the middle of the postseason for the Major League Baseball. Football's
Happy
in full
Thanksgiving
swing.
to our Canadian friends.
Yes, I had to look that up. I wasn't sure what that was all about
Happy
with the turkey.
And for people our age, I know it's changed names, but happy
Columbus Day, yes.
People who remember it as Columbus Day, but Indigenous People Day now.
Yes, and
some people just choose it's the same way, just change names. So
it's a lot to keep track of, but we're in the middle of October. College football season is just really at the halfway point, pretty much, the regular season. You know, a lot of things happening. It's a fun time of the year. You know, the one thing I don't like, but I think you do like, Andy, is NHL and NBA are starting. It really grinds my gears.
Yeah,
where'd
the year
go?
It's a
long season. It's a long season. I don't like hockey and basketball in the fall, but let's start off with a trivia question, Andy. Major League Baseball trivia question.
Yes, fire away.
The question is this: what major league manager, what major league MLB manager was fired on this day in 1969? 1969. And then we'll get to the answer and some discussion at the end of the show.
Okay. Yes. All right. Here we go. First of all, bring the good. We got to bring the bad. Today, we lost Sandy Alomar Sr.
Okay.
Former Major League Baseball player and coach Sandy Alomar Sr. has passed away. He played 15 seasons from 64 to 78, made the 1970 All-Star game. Because remember, the Angels. He later spent more than 2 decades as a coach. He never managed in the majors. He just coached. He managed like in the minor leagues and some other stuff. Of course, Sandy Alomar Jr. and Roberto Alomar are his kids. They all went on to Major League Baseball All-Star careers. Sandy Sr. was 81. So
big historical family lineage there.
Yep. Them and the Alus at that same time were kind of a big deal.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, now a word from our coach. One of the greatest coaches of the 80s, Bum Phillips. I saw this the other day, and I thought, if Bum says it, it's got to be real.
The Oilers.
He's never lied to me. Why would he start now?
No.
When asked about Earl Campbell's inability to finish a 1-mile run in training camp, Bum Phillips said, when it's first in a mile, I won't give it to him. I mean, that's genius thinking.
Yeah.
That's
never going to happen.
If it's first
You're
in a
not
mile,
going to need to run a mile.
Yep. Bum Phillips is also when he's with Houston. They were in a dome. And he never wore his cowboy hat at home games. And they go, why don't you wear it at home games? He goes, my mama taught me not to wear a hat indoors.
Exactly.
Every time they put a dome stadium, he wouldn't wear his cowboy hat.
Yeah, he's one of the greatest.
And speaking of the greatest.
Yes.
Award-winning segment.
Emmy award-winning.
Yes, the farm cable TV award-winning. All right. Dan Dickerson, announcer for the Tigers. Apparently didn't know he has an open mic or hot mic, as they call it, after the 15-inning game, and he drops the F-bomb. I didn't want to give no bleeping post-game review of the game. I got put on there. He just didn't turn into a little whiny brat after they lost. Much like if you listen to Viking games on the radio, the way they get after they lose. They just get little pouty little girls. And this has kind of been swept under. They said something that swept under. So it was the Tigers radio broadcast. You know darn well if this was national TV, someone would be fired. I know back in the day, it comes up on my reels as a highlight. Bert Blyleven dropped the F-bomb on live TV once. But, in Bert's defense, he thought they were filming. They were, for later. They weren't. They were live. He drops the F-bomb. He was suspended for a while, but kind of it was Bert, so they kind of let it go. But again, in this day and age, you don't be a sore sport like that. Bert dropped the F-bomb because he stepped on his own words. Yeah. He wasn't frustrated at the team or calling somebody out.
He wanted to do another take or something.
Frustrated on his own words. This guy was just kind of being a pouty little girl. I don't care if it's been there 1 year or 100 years. If I was the Tigers, he's not coming back. You don't sit there and try to be the voice of the team, and then when they lose, be a whiny little girl. So if it was me, sir, you'd be fired.
Yeah, your job is to broadcast the games and not lean too heavily one side or the other. You shouldn't be broadcasting as a fan. Although,
yes, you're the hometown announcer. You should have a little fanism, but when they lose, man up and give the numbers.
Yeah, this isn't.
Now let's go way back, not too far back, just earlier this season. The WNBA, the Lynx and the Vegas Aces. Lynx won 111-58 on August 2nd.
Okay.
To put the Vegas Aces at 14-14. As of October 10th, the Las Vegas Aces are the WNBA champions.
Wow.
Takes a drumming by the Lynx to get their act together. And again, I'm going to do a lot of Aces stuff here, which is just another reason for me to show Becky Hammon pictures. But here they are. They've now won 3 championships. There's your world champion, 2016 or 2026. Oh my God, 2025 world champion, Las Vegas Aces. Becky Hammon is 12-2 WNBA Finals record. Now, I'm going to stop right there before I go on. That's 10 series. That's the Finals record, not 10 series and 2 series. That's games, okay?
Okay.
So let's just clarify that. She has not been in 12 finals. She's 10-2.
Individual games, 10-2.
Those games are 10-2. So that's why I clarify that she's been in 12 finals. Oh my God. No. Is she NBA worthy? I don't know. You compare to the postseason finals of other coaches in the W. Cheryl Reeves got 52 wins. Bill Laimbeer had 37. I mean, Becky's there at 5th with 28 playoff wins. So she did learn on the bench with the San Antonio Spurs under Greg Popovich. She is leader here. And you see her jacket there. It's got a Raiders jacket. That's because Mark Davis, owner of the Raiders, also owns the Las Vegas Aces. So
interesting. I did not know that.
So if you see, like, who's this creepy, ugly guy with Becky Hammons in these pictures? That's Raiders owner Mark Davis. But is Becky NBA worthy? I think yes, just because of her knowledge of the game and who she's learned from. Sure, Reeves got more wins. Is she NBA worthy? Sure. But you got to remember, now I've even seen other reporters say it, the games are different. Yes, Becky Hammon learned the men's game, was an assistant on a men's roster, so she might be able to make that transition easier. I think Cheryl Reeve can go to a head coach for a men's team. She could be an assistant coach or a bench coach, no problem. But I don't think she can go straight to head coach. The game's different enough where I think she needs a year or so just to kind of learn the differences. You can study them and learn them all you want. Watching them live is different. All right, here we go. Here's some league notes for Ajia of the Vegas Aces there. And the whole league. Game 1 of the 2025 finals is the most watched game 1 in finals history in the 28 years, averaging 1.9 million viewers and peaking at 2.5. This is the finals that did not have Caitlin Clark, did not have Paige Beckers, did not have Angel Reese, did not, had Ajia Wilson, though. She's a big name, but she's got all the MVPs, but she just quietly doesn't unless you follow it. Here's her resume. 2014 Max Preps High School Player of the Year. 2018 AP College Player of the Year. 2024 Olympics MVP. 2-time Olympic gold medalist. 2017 NCAA champion. 2018 Rookie of the Year. 2-time Finals MVP. 2-time scoring champ. 7 times All-Star. 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. 4-time MVP. 3-time World Champion. Is she the GOAT? Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah. The GOAT wants to be her. Okay. Let's just read.
Yes.
Am I going to say she's the Michael Jordan of the WNBA? At this time, maybe yes. But all records of greatness is made to be broken. So, but she has set the bar. She's the one you want to beat records of. And she did something else no one's ever done. She's the first athlete in sports history to get a game-winning jumper over a married couple. Both those players are the Phoenix are married.
Oh my
So
God.
there's a stat no one will ever break for a while.
Oh,
Running shot over a married couple. And I just think it's a funny stat. I just think it's having fun with it.
great stat.
The winning shot. So there we go. What else can she do? She can hit a winning shot over a married couple. The WNBA, I'm sorry, latest proposal does not include a supermax salary at or exceeding $1 million in the first year of the deal, but instead closer to $850. That's kind of one of the numbers they've been shooting for in their collective bargaining agreements. Currently, the supermax is just under $250,000. They're proposing $850,000. The veteran minimum there is at $78,800. They want to propose that up to $300,000. So that's the proposals. We'll see what happens. These are the numbers. That's why it's called negotiating. So the quote of the week, we're still kind of on that same topic. Now, when you think NBA, Dan, and you think quotes of the week, and you think our genre, you think Charles Barkley.
Yes.
So here he is. He says, in WNBA, we were like, no, we're not going to strike. They need us. You know what I was doing? Sitting on my black ass at home, unemployed, playing damn tiddlywinks. That was Charles. That's kind of what he's saying the girls should do too. Just sit and strike. Do it. They're going to replace all you girls with other girls. Is there some who want the job? Sure. Are you going to watch Scab WNBA? It's not big enough for that. They might be able to show video games games from the European leagues maybe, but you're not going to find enough girls to get Scab players, so you're going to have nothing. WNBA loses one season. They will never get back what they got now. Period.
Yeah, they're stuck.
South Carolina's Chloe Kitts is out for the season with a torn ACL. South Carolina's a very good team. She's a good player. She'll be out this year. Will it affect their team? Sure. But again, when you're a top 5 team, you could miss someone. It may take you a while through the season to bounce back, but they'll still be there. They're South Carolina. Don't count them out.
You've got depth.
Now, I'm sorry. This bothered me. Really bothered me. Gophers, Myra Brown, they basically said NCAA tournament or bust was what they said media day. That's the stupidest thing in the world you could say. Oh, we just don't make the NCAA tournament. Really? I think every other team in the league wants to win the championship. I don't know about you. You just want to make the tournament. You were 8-10 last year in conference play, 25-11 overall. You finished 14th in the Big Ten out of 18 teams. You and the other 4 below you were the only ones below 500 in conference play. We just want to make the NCAA tournament. No, you don't. You want to win the whole thing. You're setting the bar pretty low. If that's all your expectations are, I really have no interest in watching your games this year. We just want to make the tournament, and then we're happy. Okay, whatever.
So
yes.
And I didn't see the quote. I did not see the quote officially, but does that basically say that if they didn't make the NCAA and they got offered the NIT, they would decline it?
No, I think she's just saying they'd be happy. Their goal is to make the NCAA tournament. And with there's the NIT and there's the other one too that they won a couple years ago, whatever that third branch basketball tournament is.
Yeah, there's 2 different versions.
So,
okay. I just don't know when they say or bust, or bust. That to me that's all they're doing. They're trying to get that.
Right.
Nothing else.
Not matters. That we ain't playing, but you're just a player.
Interesting thing to say.
Yeah. And by the way, your hairstyle looks silly there too. Money can't buy October. The Dodgers $350 million payroll. Brewers are a third of that, and they're both in the playoffs. So we shall see. Now, I don't have a picture of it. I'm going to say this real quick. I saw it before we came on. Brewers had Robin Yount throwing out the opening pitch tonight. Go back and watch that video. I love me Robin Yount. One of my first guys I started following baseball growing up. Being here in Minnesota, and he was popular in Milwaukee. We kind of got a lot of that before cable. So kind of grew up a little bit of a Robin Yount fan. When you look at his picture today, he throws the opening pitch, and you look at him, and I love him. I'm saying this with kindness in my heart. He's got that look like okay, great. Can I get back? I got to get back to working third shift at the factory. He's just a regular looking guy, just a regular
Yes.
Joe, and that's what I love about him still. He's not all out in his suit and tie and hair. No, he's like, I got to get back to my gig at the bar. I got to clean up tonight, And here is other payrolls. Dodgers are first at 350. Blue Jays have the fifth payroll, 255. Mariners are 15th at 165. And the Brewers at 22 with 122. And if you know your baseball history, it's an outside shot. It could be the current Seattle baseball team against the former Seattle baseball team in the World Series. So Seattle Pilots were around before they became the Milwaukee Brewers. So could be Seattle and Seattle.
Yes.
Rally shoe.
1969, the Seattle Pilots.
I don't know if you saw Rally shoe over the weekend. It's a thing in
Pilots.
Seattle.
Yes.
I just want to say this. A 15-inning game, a 12-inning game. If those weren't the two best nights for baseball, I don't know what is. Get rid of the Ghost Runner. Those were two great nights for baseball. It was like, why do I stay up on a Wednesday night till 2 a.m. watching a ball game? Then don't. Go to bed. Obviously, it doesn't concern you or make you excited or happy. Sorry, I don't want to watch college football all day long or pro football all day long, but that's what your cable network gives me. I will watch a baseball game till midnight on a work night or a school night. Why? Because it's baseball. When you get that deep, that is great baseball. No Ghost Runner. We're playing till we play. 15 innings. Both catchers won all 15. So there. Give me my extra innings.
Awesome
and here's
stuff.
the picture as of this morning. As of recording, Seattle's up 2-0. Dodgers and Brewers are, like I said, just getting underway. Seattle is 2 games of just, and I'm going to say this, and I didn't want to say it ahead of time because I don't want to sound like I didn't want to be wrong. Okay, there, I said it. When the Blue Jays beat the Yankees, you'd think they just won the 5th straight World Series ever. They over-celebrated. They were so hyped on, we got to beat the Yankees. They beat them 3-1. They crushed them. And they still had 2 days off for the game, but it's like, I don't know if they thought, well, we beat the Yankees. We're all but in the World Series. You got to get by Seattle first. And you got to beat somebody else in the World Series to win it. They had their, the Yankees lose. And I'm not defending the Yankees. I'm glad they lost. But they were pounding their chests so hard they beat the Yankees. They got nothing left. I'm not saying they spent everything on those 2 games, but mentally, they're down 0-2, and Seattle took advantage of that, and they're up 2-0. Seattle won a 15-inning game, had 1 day off, had to fly across country because they won in Seattle, had to go to Toronto. Not a geography major, but that's a long way. And they've come out like aces. You guys had 2 days off at home, and you can't do nothing. You beat yourselves, Toronto, and I'm sad because I want to see Vlad Jr. get a shot, but you know what? It comes down to managing on this one. They just got overexcited.
So, do you have anything coming up on the segment for the Toronto fans? Toronto fans in Canada. There's only one team in the country. Everyone in Canada is a Toronto fan, but the second biggest crowd that they have as far as fan support is in Vancouver, just north, hour and a half away from Seattle.
Yep.
Is a big contingent of Blue Jay fans. So the games when they switch over to Seattle for those 3 games are going to be interesting because
I'm really curious how many tickets were bought, and that's what I'm kind of waiting to see.
I'm kind of interested in watching that all play out because Seattle's way up with the 2-0 lead is huge, but Toronto did go there in the regular season and sweep them in a 3-game set.
Exactly.
In
That's
Seattle during the season.
Yep.
So you never know.
Toronto's got the things are lining up for them. They're not done, but I think they fell behind because they got a little overconfident. Toronto could very easily still win this series. They can come back and win 4 straight. I'm not saying they can't. I'm just saying they put themselves behind 2-0.
Yep.
Now, this I didn't know was a problem, but they fixed it. NCAA Division I votes to allow college athletes to bet on professional sports. Now, for this to come up to be a thing, Someone must have been doing it already if they had to bring it up to make, hey, we should make this legal. Because you're not just going to make it legal out of nowhere. There had to be a reason for it. I suppose now that they're making all this NIL money and they got to spend, and FanDuel's going to sponsor everything, might as well let them bet on the pro sports. So if you can bet on pro sports, can they bet on themselves getting drafted?
See, it opens
before they get drafted. Hey, I might go to this team. I'm going to bet on them now when their numbers are low to make the playoffs before I go there. This team said they're going to draft me. So now you're betting on yourself. So when does that I'm a college athlete betting on the pros end? You know,
it's a big, awful big gray area.
Yeah. If you could do anything, be a coach in college football, then suck. James Franklin's been fired by the Penn State, and he's still getting $49+ million because of his contract. Jimbo Fisher, he's still making $36 million on his contract. He got fired in 23. You're there to be an agent for a football coach in college. Hey, you had 2 good years. Let's bank this, and I never have to work again as an agent. Or I made some credit team look good for 2 years. Sign me up at the big school. I'm done. I'm not saying these 2 guys gave up. But did they lose their love for coaching on this? They got the money, and that thrill, that drive is gone now. I don't know.
Yeah, it is just amazing. A friend of mine I was talking to a friend of mine and asked him, what would you like to be when you grew up? He said, a fired college football coach.
Yes. Yep.
That would be my goal. Look at this. Walk away, $49 million or $76 million to walk away. Here's your check. Bye-bye. What is wrong with this picture?
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I got, though, sir. Like I said, the WNBA, they're going to see their playoff talks coming up here as they negotiate strike, no strikes situation, lockout, whatever I'll call it. We'll see how that goes. Keep an eye on this off season. One other thing I heard someone bring up too is they have that little 3-on-3 league the WNBA has that yes. One gal from the Lynx is part owner of. So here's a couple players from WNBA own this other league that's paying more than the league they play in. You know, that'd be like if in the NFL they said, hey, we're going to start a 4-on-4 flag football.
Yep.
Okay. And Justin Jefferson's going to be one of the owners of the league.
Yep.
Wait a minute. You're funding an entire league? And then complaining your league ain't paying enough?
See,
you know, you must be making some good money. You got some great investments or great business mind. Hats off to you ladies who are doing this. But is this maybe 3-on-3? If the WNBA folds, will this 3-on-3 become the thing that women have to go to? And that could expand to more teams because it's only 3-on-3. We only need 4, maybe 5 girls on a team, not 11 or 12.
It's wild. It's this whole transformation of the sport is wild.
Yeah. So it's kind of like watching arena football, the 3-on-3 for basketball. It's like watching arena football. Same thing, smaller.
Yeah, it's
the same but different.
It's wild stuff.
That's wild stuff. That's what I got, man. That's my bit.
We do have a trivia question coming up at the end here. I just do want to plug my bonus episode last week. I did a bonus episode over the weekend on the Minnesota Twins off season. And basically it goes down each position as a projection of who's going to start, who's going to play, who will be the reserves in 2026, and who will be the starting lineups also for the St. Paul Saints. And so that's taking, not into consideration anyone that comes or goes in the off season, but give it a listen. I do have a bet out there for an 85-win season next year with someone already because of that bonus episode. So we'll see how it looks. But if you have any questions about the Twins,
did you make a prediction on who the manager would be for that team next year?
No. Some folks are really into that. I'm not even really watching who is the manager.
They throw so many names out there just to throw it against the wall and see what sticks.
I'm not following any of that stuff. I think with the players that they've got, if they have a half decent manager in there doing things, the depth is so good. So it kind of goes over the fire sale. 11 guys out, 13 guys back. Draft takes place. The international draft takes place. The depth at this organization is is good. So if everyone is healthy, you should be pretty good. And I kind of predicted very little off-season activity for the Minnesota Twins organization because there's really no holes to fill. And I go into that on the show.
I got one follow-up to last week. Mark Sanchez follow-up.
Yes.
I didn't read the full story. It's out there. You all can read it yourself. His ex-wife, mother of his child, says his actions are not surprising to her. So, with that said, and maybe if you look deep enough in the internet, you'll find it, or TMZ or something like that. Hats off to her for not just spreading crap when they got divorced going. He's a head case. Watch out for him. She very well could have said that. She didn't. I don't know. But now that he did, now she's saying something. Not saying that's good or bad, but like I said, stuff happens. You got to wait a week or two, let all the chips fall down.
Let the
Still
dust
see what
settle.
happens on this, but apparently this isn't too far off the line for Mr. Sanchez.
Yeah, they did have various different angles of the surveillance that was captured. They put it all together and to kind of see what he was doing and his movements.
Yeah.
It's a wild story is what it is, but
Yep.
And then baseball, we talked about salary. You showed the comparisons.
Yep.
Now that we're in the postseason, and we've talked about in the past, Major League Baseball, how the fans really, really want, for an instance, locally, the Twins, to spend the money, get the big ball players, spend the money, open the checkbooks, because then you can win. The 120 million payroll that the Brewers are on should be very much in line with what the Minnesota Twins should be at. So there should be nothing to complain because they're already at that. They're already over that, I believe. So, when we get back to the fans, the true fans versus the bandwagon fans that are just kind of loosely following it, that's where the difference is. The payroll really should have nothing to do with it. You're still signing major league ball players. So how it's managed and how the chemistry in the ball club and the batter, that's what takes on the clubhouse, the dugout, and how the guys get along over a 6-month season like this. Not how much you're paying them. You need to have the chemistry, and that's why these teams at lower payroll does it, and that's why you almost have to take that out of the equation.
Mets $300 million payroll. 2 out of the last 3 years haven't made the playoffs.
Yeah, and so going out and getting the best player on the market, yeah, it makes for a great offseason, selling newspapers. People get excited, the fans get excited, but you don't know how they're going to mesh when they get on board in your company to work with as a teammate. Maybe they work, maybe they don't, but that's what Mr. Cohen has found out. Steve Cohen has found out that you can't just do that. It's spending a lot of money, and you're hoping it just works. Now, we have a trivia question, Andy.
Yes.
It's going to lead to another question after this. But anyway, on this day, who was fired 1969 as an American League manager, baseball manager on this day, 1969? Any guesses?
Well, that's the year the Mets won it. So whoever the Cubs manager that year, who they overtook, maybe it was him.
My only hint is going to be American League.
Oh, then I don't know.
So it was Minnesota Twins. It was Billy Martin.
Uh-oh.
So 1969. And I think I was talking to my wife, I think this is another trivia question that could be. Up and through 1968, there was just an American League and a National League.
Yep.
And everyone was in one conference or one division. 1969 was the first year they split the American League into East and West and the National League into East and West. So there was 2. So the Minnesota Twins that year was the first ever winners of the American League West. If that trivia question ever comes up, 1969, the Minnesota Twins were the first ever team that won the West. And they won it with 97 wins. Lost 3-0 to the Baltimore Orioles in the subsequent playoffs. Billy Martin fired. Twins 97 wins, go to the postseason, 1 series away from the World Series. Your manager's fired. 97 wins, and so this gets back into the whole conversation of what do you want as a fan? You
get Joe Girardi with the Marlins? I can't remember the year. He wins 78 wins, 78, 80, 78, and 86 or whatever there were. He gets manager of the year because it was a great turnaround after 1 year. They canned him. Manager of the year canned.
Now,
so is it because payroll? They don't want to pay the big money, The Marlins were going on cuts back then. They didn't want to pay anybody anything. Twins have always had that MO.
And this was back with the Griffiths were owners. And part of it was, Billy Martin was getting into fights. He was getting in bar brawls. He was drinking a lot on the road trips. He was getting into fist fights with amongst some of the own players on the team and coaches. I mean, so they had to, I think, get rid of him. But the fans were upset because how do you get rid of a 97-win manager that went to the postseason? Well, it was a head case. One thing he also did was, hey, we're going to face the Orioles in the postseason. I'm a friend of Jim Cott. I want you to throw him in game one. Billy Martin says, I'm the manager. That's my call. I'll throw Jim Cott whenever I want to. That's not up to the owners to decide.
Right.
And Billy Martin now has a case. That's a manager decision, not an owner. So they're down 2-0. He says, I'll throw Jim Cott, and they get shellacked again. So, but boy, you get a clash with owners not knowing their role versus managers who know their role. It gets back into this women's professional hockey league with the Minnesota case. Remember?
Yep.
You get to hire a general manager, and then we sit home for the draft because we don't need you there. That's my job. That's all I do is the draft.
That's what you pay me for.
So that's what you pay me for is the draft. So it gets into that blurry lines of not knowing your responsibilities. And so Griffiths, as the owner, you have no business telling him who to start when, never. And so there's a lot of bad moving parts in that situation.
We've talked about many Billy Martin stories on the show over the years.
Yes.
Can you imagine if Billy Martin was around that time with today's internet?
Social media. Could you imagine all these bar fights that he would have been in and fist fights would have been on the air, all been aired socially, which I think was a part of the reason back then in '69. The fans didn't know, so they were upset at the ownership for firing him.
Yeah, you hear it later on.
97 wins is great. They're like, well, now the stories come out that he was a head case. They were deciding on cutting him loose probably months before the season ended even. And so no big surprise.
Once they got a ring, I think he was gone.
Interesting trivia question. 97 wins, you're gone.
All right.
That's all we've got. We'll see you next Monday. By then we'll be doing the World Series preview pretty much.
World Series preview. So-and-so will be up. Well, no, we'll have games coming up yet.
It could almost be there, but it'll be a week away. We'll see where we're at.
Yep. Jorge Polanco, AL playoffs MVP.
Oh, yes. A tremendous postseason for Jorge. Love it.
Yep.
All right. Have a good week.